Yes, guys. So we're live. We're back. Not done a live one of these for a while. Bit of a spur in the moment. I've been meaning to do it for a bit, and I've put some work in today. Put my lad to sleep and wanted to do this video really. And I think that B1's been making some quite powerful moves recently, over the last 6 to 12 months, really. Building in terms of who we can impact and who we can deliver to, who we are delivering to, and the people that we're involved with. And the reason I kind of wanted to do this is because something that's been playing on my mind is when we started to transition into becoming a not-for-profit organization and being able to reach organizations, charities, businesses, and obviously we're in the bracket of mental health. So we worked very hard with the head of Greater Manchester Social Prescribing last year. We worked with this lady to make B1 into a model that was accepted by the NHS, which was huge. Like, that's a hugely proud thing. The wellbeing hub was a big part of that. So obviously I deliver mindset and personal development tasks, which is what I dip into tonight, some reasoning behind that. But then we started to add other pockets around well-being, which are obviously instrumental in providing someone with a state of mental health. Physical activity has a huge impact on how we're feeling, on how we're thinking, on our health, which all obviously has a huge impact in terms of mental health as well. And emotional health, they all kind of fall into a bracket as one. And I think that over the last couple of months, the more meetings that we've had, the more progressions that we've made, I never want to lose a value. And there's other people involved within B1, Liam and Christine, who have been instrumental in helping B1 CIC evolve the way we have done. But when we go into these meetings, I'm always quite outspoken in that it's got to come from the person. It's got to come from the individual, not just to want change, but to take action. And the friction sometimes comes when you speak to an organization who are just there to support a person and offer them an ear. And I understand how important that is for someone that's really struggling, in whatever level you class it as. On the mental health spectrum, we've got high risk, which is people that are thinking about taking their life, and people that are obviously on certain drugs, more and heavier than antidepressants. We're talking antipsychotic drugs, etc. Other people that are obviously in institutes and wherever it may be. So there's levels to this, and as we start to move down, there's a big percent of people who kind of fall into the bracket of life affecting them and them just struggling to understand how to deal with it. And it's not something that we're generally taught in schools, and it's not taught as much as I think it should be. But that's not what this video or this audio is about. I want to pack the punch. And the reason I want to pack the punch is because I never want to lose that as a value. And if I ever give a speech, or if I'm ever giving a workshop, or even if I'm ever speaking to someone, this is the message that I'll drive. And it's that no matter what situation you're in, as bad as it is, there's only one person that can start to transition it. There's only one person that can make a decision. Okay, there's only one person that's feeling the way that you're feeling, and that is you. And I brought a book with me. This is the second book. As you can see, it used to have a cover. I was given a book when I was about 30 years old, and it helped me massively. It was around understanding my emotions better, understanding a different perspective on life, and that had a huge transformational effect on how angry I was as a human, and how much hate and resentment I held within myself, and how much that was destroying me as a person. And don't get me wrong, I still experience all of these emotions. Sometimes they're triggered from past, sometimes they're triggered from present. The difference is that I do have coping mechanisms with them now, and I also am able to sit with them now, which is a power that I talk about a lot of me on social media, that actually feeling some of those feelings, I don't run from them, I sit with them. So I'm not always looking for a state change. And I think this is important to say. If I feel angry about something, or feel frustrated, or start to feel hateful, or whatever it may be, it's not always for me now about, right, I need to transition my state and become happy, or become at peace. It's actually being able to sit with that emotion and just understand it a little bit better, and understand, right, okay, so what's it bringing up within my mind at the minute? Is it bringing something up from the past that I need to think about, that I need to understand better? Okay, is there something that's on my mind that's bringing it up from the present? Is it something I'm worrying about in the future? And this is the power of sitting with heavy emotions, negative emotions. It's the realization that you come to of what they're attached to. And this sounds quite deep, but this is the power of it. And the reason, again, I wanted to do this video, and it making more sense why I wanted to do this video as I'm talking, which is crazy. But this is about understanding ourselves. And so many people are scared to do that. So many people are scared to do the work that's required to understand themselves better, to be able to deal with their emotions and not reach for certain things to escape from their emotions, whether that's drinking. The three most common, I would personally say, if we start to feel negative or having a negative emotional cycle, would be alcohol. It will be some form of drugs, whether that's smoking or harder, or it would be eating. I think they're the most common. I think scaling off that, again, if we go back to mental health and we go up the scale, we've got self-harm, we've got abuse, we've got violence, worst case scenarios, kind of things like that as well. And this is why I'm so passionate about people understanding what emotions are and being able to cope with them and deal with them, and just not, I think there's a lot out there at the minute in terms of, right, I'm going to teach you on a coping mechanism. So when they feel anger, or when they feel a bit down or anxious or worried, let's do this breath method, or let's change your state. And there's many ways to change your state. And when I say change your state, do something drastic that creates a biochemical shift within the body, and a hormone imbalance starts to transition, and suddenly we start to feel good in the moment. And there's certain things we can do that literally create that within the body, and then suddenly we think differently. So we start to think more positive. It's why cold water became so popular. If you jump into freezing cold water and get out, no matter how long you were in for, sometimes even if you just put your hand in and bring it out, the biochemical reaction that has within the body creates such a shift, a powerful impact, that it makes us start to think differently, think better, think more positively. And that's why they say change your state before you make any key decisions. But as much as I'm behind all of that, and it's something that we coach within B1, the other angle is to actually understand your emotions and being able to sit with them. Like when you're angry, can you sit with the anger? Can you sit with the thoughts? Can you sit with them until they don't affect you as much? Can you sit with an emotion of anger, of hate, of jealousy, of regret, and whatever thought is attached to that, or thought cycle, there might be multiple thoughts, or memory, and just sit with it? Because when you sit with it long enough, it starts to break itself down. It starts to detach. And when I say detach, you start to think, I'm thinking about it, but I'm starting to break how heavy that emotion was with it. Now, the key to that is you start to realize the impact they have on each other, both negatively and positively. Negatively, because when you draw energy to it, it hypes up and it heightens up the power it has. But if you're able to sit with it for a little bit longer, the impact starts to lessen. The feeling and the emotions start to lessen, and you start to have the realization, okay, so it's just a thought. I'm feeling a little bit calmer. I've not utilized a huge state change to transition this. I'm still thinking about it. I've just calmed down in terms of how I feel as a person, the sensations within my body. And this is powerful. This is deep. This isn't what I was going to go into in this audio or video, whichever one you're listening to or watching. I've done it on both. Just had to shut the window, so I'm sweating because the cars are outside. So I'm going to keep this a little bit short now. The reason I brought this book is this is the second book after that. That's what kind of tended me off then to speak about the one I just spoke about, because it really helped me understand everything I spoke to you about just then. There was more work that went in, and this book it kind of linked into that. But this one was a lot more forward thinking. This one went into emotions heavily. It went into our beliefs heavily, but it also led positively into goal setting, to understand our identity, our values, the thing that we hold most dearest in our life and adhere to, because that dictates our actions, our behaviors, our decisions, what we value most. And most people would say they value something, but if they look back over the week, they're actually be surprised at how much of their week didn't align with the values that they'd written down. So it's like how much you actually truly value that. Do you just think that you value it, or do you value it? How committed are you to those values? It's a powerful exercise. These are all exercises that I did, and that is the reason I wanted to do this audio in this video. The exercises I'm talking about, every page in this book has been read 3 or 4 times. Okay, every single task in this book has been done multiple times in the book. Okay, and then when I did it in the book the first time, when I next read it, I did it in a pad. When I next read it, I pretty much wrote out every single word in this book onto a piece of paper and then typed it up onto a computer, because it had that much of a powerful effect on me. And I understood that this is actually life transformational. It's completely changed my life. And this led me into another book, into more reading. And I'm not saying that reading changed my life, although personally it's been huge for me, both in terms of how I speak, in terms of my vocabulary, in terms of my thinking and thought processes. It's completely different. So what we feed into our mind is so integral and important. But that's not what I meant. It's more so that the tasks that are within that, and the tasks that are within some of these self-development and self-help books, how powerful they are. But you have to do them. You have to take action on them. Just the same way, if you have got goals, you've got to take actions to achieve your goals. Just the same way as if you're in a negative state and you're feeling down, or something shit's happening in life and you've got to turn it around, you've got to do something about it. There may be times where someone else helps you, or there's a shining light or a chance of luck, fair play, but that's not always going to happen. And it's about you really kind of stepping up, and the power behind that, okay? And this is the truth. This is the real power. And in my opinion, like the root of B1, it's when you do that, it instills within you the biggest sense of self-esteem and meaning and purpose as a human that you can find. And when I say that, you can find all of those things in external things, in helping other people or doing something, a passion project, whatever it may be. Like, this is my purpose, this is my meaning, I'm helping people, whatever it may be. But you can do all of that and still feel down. You can do all of that and still go home, and when you're on your own, still not feel good. So self-development is so integral. And when you do the work on yourself, okay, and you put the time in and the effort in, which it does require, it builds something within you. And this is what I'm talking about, that light, that spark. And that can't be broken if you continue to act and take on it. And it's the life changer for me. And it's what I adhere to now. And it's why I'll never go back to old ways. And it's why I'm very careful who I hang around with or who I speak to, because the transition back to old thinking patterns, to old behaviors, is very easy. You've got to be strong and disciplined enough to think, actually, I'm trying to change for a reason. I'm trying to achieve this goal for a reason. Whatever we're trying to do in that scope, in that positive shift, okay, we're doing it for a reason, for ourselves to be a better person, to feel better, to think better, to have a better life. So you've got to understand what decisions, what environments, what people are going to support the new way of moving and what aren't. And then you've got to be strong enough to adhere to it. These are all philosophies and things I talk about so much on social media and within B1. And that's my point to this. Everything I've tried to put into B1 from a personal development and mindset perspective, all these tasks, and I could put so much more in, but it's about getting people to dig their teeth into these ones and action them. And it's like the biggest thing that I see when I was doing this as a one-to-one coach, I saw more change because I was holding people accountable. They knew they were checking in with me the following week, or they knew they could touch base with me. When we created a system like this where it's more online based, the accountability falls on the person heavily. And unfortunately, this is where I'm going to leave this video. Unfortunately, most people that make transformational change in a positive way wait until something significantly bad happens within their life, either to themselves or someone that they truly care about. They wait until the worst case scenario hits. And that's when they think, right now, I've hit rock bottom. I need to do something about it. And I'm so passionate about trying to help people not have to hit that point, to think like now's the time to change. Why wait to get to rock bottom? Why wait for that traumatic, hard hitting, negative impact to hit you before you start to realize, actually, I want something different and better for my life? Imagine if you could find that earlier. And you can. But this is the interesting question that I pose myself from a philosophical point of view, which is, why? Why do so many people not have the oomph to put that work in before they hit rock bottom? Does that make sense? Like before they hit that negative pitfall. I'm not talking just like a bad day. I'm talking like something severe. It was something severe that happened to a family member for myself that completely transitioned, that gave me a spark within me to do the work, to put it in, to actually fucking do it, to sit down and go through it and then apply it. And at times when I thought, this is horrendous, this is hurting, I'm not getting this. Like, why am I doing this? And all of those thoughts come through, but you still apply yourself because you realize, I need to change. I need to get better. I need to push through. I can see the light. I'm going to get there. And again, it's just amazing how I've had this conversation with a good friend before. It's like, I personally feel a lot of people are driven harder off pain. And that's still me. I think if something negative happens in my life now, I become more disciplined straight on the spot. I become more hard-faced and resilient. When things are going good and you're chilled and you're more relaxed, I might be a little bit more laxy-daisy. And it's interesting. I still see that perspective. And this is why I'm still studying and I'm still learning and I'm still heavy into psychology and philosophy, biology, and everything that I can put my head into realistically, even from a business and entrepreneurial aspect. Like, I'm reading phenomenal amount of audiobooks still because I'm just trying to indulge this information because it's helping me progress as a person, and hopefully that's helping other people. So this has just been more of a video where I want to try to get a couple more of these out. It's just me speaking open and honestly. Whether one person listens, a few people listen, or however many, it doesn't matter. I think it's going to help me to get out of my mind things that I want to speak about. And as you can hear, I've got a gruff voice. It's been a busy period for me. A lot going on with work in a minute. Obviously looking after my son. My wife's pretty much just past halfway through pregnancy. Got 2 dogs, short on time, and a lot of projects going on. But they're no excuses. I keep plugging away. I keep chipping away. My training is still paramount to myself. It always will be. That'll never go. So I'm still making sure I train. I'm still meditating. I'm still cold bathing. I'm still doing things that are good for my mind, for my body and my soul. Meditation's huge. Breathwork's huge. Connecting with myself is huge. I did one the other night where I'll leave you with this. And it just goes in depth, like the stuff that I do. So I sat on my beanbag. My beanbag's now over there, so I need to understand where's the best bit. And I just connected to my brain. I remember when I read one of Dr. Joe Dispenza's books, and he was so ahead of me in terms of the science. It's phenomenal. But I stuck with it and I read it. And I swear just reading that book alone progressed me in terms of language because of the words he used. But I stuck with it. Even times I didn't understand exactly what he said, I continued to read and then read back or Googled it or whatever it may be. And that's what I'm saying about putting the work in. But there's a section where he really went into the areas of the brain and what they did, what they were called, how they linked together, what they did to the in connection with the body. And I sat there to meditate, and I just felt, and when I say felt, just kind of sensationally put my consciousness onto different parts of my brain and just noticed if any thoughts surfaced, and then noticed, is that thought a present thought or is that a memory? And then could I feel the brain? And it's as mad as this all sounds, and it starts to get, it's not woo-woo because I'm bringing the science element into it. That's what I love about that. And that's what I love about Dr. Joe Dispenza, who really kind of helped me bridge the gap between meditation, being on a very spiritual side, and combining that with how science-backed, research-backed meditation also is in terms of helping the mind, helping the body, and developing us as humans. Science proven, and that's the power of it. So, but I just wanted to give you an example. So I did that for 20 minutes on my own and came out of it feeling phenomenal, and came out of it questioning in myself, and not in a bad way, but I just had more questions. But questions are good because, as Tony Robbins says, questions are answers. Questions are the answers in life. If we can ask a powerful enough question, we get a powerful enough answer. And that's what I'll leave you with. Find yourself a powerful question about you and your life, and then you determine a powerful, positive answer to utilize and drive forward with. Yeah. But at the root of B1, at the root of my change, came hard work. It came the desire to put it in. So if you sat there listening or watching this and you have got shit going on in your life, or you want change, you want a difference in whatever area, you're feeling sorry for yourself, shit's bad, whatever it is, okay. But there's only one person that can transition any of that. And there are ways to do it. So you're either saying to yourself, I don't want to, I haven't got the motivation to, I can't be bothered. Or you're saying to yourself, I can be bothered. I'm going to put the work in, even if I feel demotivated or low energy. I'm not going to let any of those be excuses for me not to start to transition. And like I say, if you take that second option, then you put the work in, you'll find more motivation, more self-belief, more self-esteem, more drive for life than you could ever imagine. That is the spark within you that no one can give you. You have to find, you have to light it up yourself. The information's out there, but that information can't light the spark within you. You can. I just don't want people to wait until something deeply traumatic to happen to them or a loved one for them to then light that spark. They still light it, but they wait for that negative rock bottom, serious rock bottom, to light it. Or in worst case scenarios, they don't light it and they go even further away. I'll leave it on that positive note.